Welcome back to Social Studies 20-1, Lesson 18, Cold War, an applied study of nationalism and ideology shaping foreign policy. Following this lesson, you should be able to explore the causes of the Cold War, explore some key events and terms associated with the Cold War, interpret related cartoons, and there's some opportunity to review the A1 process. Please keep these notes for Social 30 as the Cold War is a mini unit there as well. And here we go. Who was to blame for causing the Cold War? We're going to see presented opinions that suggest the Soviets caused it and some opinions that suggest the Americans caused the Cold War. Soviets are to blame for causing the war. They are a regime of thugs. The Russians, the Soviets, are paranoid. They're dangerous. They're led by dictators that abandoned their allies during World War I. They'll abandon their allies in World War I and openly declare, when Lenin does, that a prolonged existence side by side with imperialist states was unthinkable. That sounds like you're creating a conflict. Soviets were expansionist after World War II. They kept a large military, kept the industry focused on militarism and military. They thought of Eastern Europe as their territory. They failed to give aid to the Poles in the war. They set up unpopular communist regimes. They wanted Germany to remain weak and divided and wanted to expand into Asia and the oil-rich Middle East. Sadly, that doesn't sound that different from Putin and Russia in the 2020s. U.S. was to blame for causing the war. 1945, the Soviet Union was in ruins. They had lost 20 million citizens, 50 times more than the Americans lost. And they did not want war. The West intervened in the Civil War twice in the first 3 years of the Soviet Union. USA did not seek any diplomatic relations with the USSR until 1933. The Soviets wanted to stop Hitler in the 30s, but the West tried appeasement instead. The Soviets during World War II needed a second front. 80% of the German forces were used against the Soviets. The Americans kept the Manhattan Project a secret during the war. They stopped the Lend-Lease programs with the Soviets in 1945 and offered them nothing. Truman was confrontational. The years following the war, USA was strong. The Soviet Union was vulnerable. The USA had all the major allies: Japan, China, Western Europe. The United States had bases that threatened the Soviets. The U.S. doctrine, the Truman Doctrine, overstated the Soviet threat in order to win support. Truman never sought compromise with the Soviets. The USA needed the Marshall Plan to control Europe. The Soviets needed Eastern Europe as a buffer zone. Eastern Europe was not ready for democracy. The Soviets blockaded Berlin in 1948 to sound the alarm regarding the rebuilding of Germany. West Germany was renamed, and in 1949, NATO was formed. There's some additional videos here. There's an article that you could look at to answer who caused the Cold War, and there's some additional other notes that you could take a peek at as well. Now, we can also explore some key events and terms associated with the Cold War through some of these summaries. U.S. nuclear policies were dangerous and immoral. The United States relied on nukes to accomplish foreign policy goals, more than just to deter war, but also to protect other nations against communist aggression. Eisenhower's policy of massive retaliation made even small bushfire conflicts into nuclear conflagrations. This was ineffective as it was not credible. Cuba fell to Castro and no nukes were used to stop it. JFK abandoned massive retaliation but still saw nukes as just another weapon. The Soviets built their own arsenal in order to achieve balance. The USA was the first to use a bomb, develop new ones, hydrogen bombs, SLBMs, short and long-term ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, ICBMs, and after SALT, the USA went from having 4,000 missiles to 10,000 that could hit the Soviet Union. Deterrence and mutual assured destruction were overdone. Ability to kill everyone on the planet several times over so that nuclear winter was a real possibility. USA planned for nuclear war, nuclear peace held as the Soviets did not want war. Nukes made the world less safe, misread radar, and defective computer chips could start a nuclear Armageddon. So that's just some quick thoughts being pieced together. Here's some more quick thoughts about President Kennedy, and nuclear policies were necessary and responsible. So you can definitely read through those as well. Here's some thoughts about the global idea of containment and connecting it to the domino theory and a war of hearts and minds in Vietnam, whether or not that was effective. Here's some thoughts on the policy of détente and American chauvinism. And then we present to you some visuals. Here's Lyndon B. Johnson's overreaction to the Soviets' 1968 intervention in Czechoslovakia. The policy of détente failed because of Soviet aggressiveness. So another term that we want you to leave here understanding is the word détente, a relaxation of tension. And this is going to present to you what is détente and how the Soviet aggressiveness in Afghanistan ended up killing the time of détente. There's an excellent related video for you if you need more information. And then finally we get into the Reagan years. And to what extent did they end the war or prolong it? Connected concepts of glasnost and perestroika from Mikhail Gorbachev are mentioned in this document. So that's another way to piece our way through the Cold War, is to kind of go through it conceptually, looking at main concepts. Spheres of influence, containment, Truman Doctrine, Marshall Plan, those ideas. And here's some cartoons that you could end up seeing on exams in the future connected to those concepts. What I'd like to do now, though, is go through the Cold War chronologically with you. I'm going to look at it with a PowerPoint, and I'm going to go through the major events of the Cold War. That's going to be the second video that I create here. This one's just more like highlighting what's in this document for you. Lots of cartoon analysis, some notes that I've already taken, so it's good to look down the notes, and this reminds you how to break down a cartoon. So this helps you with the A1 process. This is also another cartoon that we have some samples. Read the responses from the students. This will help review the steps of an A1 as well. So there's those three sources, and here's some responses from students with regards to them. So that's another step here, is we're learning or reminding ourselves how to do an A1 by looking at the Cold War. So that's what this document can help you with. And then I'm about to share a second document where I go through this extensive slideshow with you. So we'll stop it there, otherwise this video is going to get really long. And the next video I'm going to go through the Cold War event by event.